Welcome back, one and all, or welcome in, if it's your first time here. Today we're diving into the first of a series of videos I plan to release every Wednesday I'm currently calling Campfire Stories. These campfire stories are primarily anecdotal accounts of frightful encounters and the like, that I'll be searching the dark corners of the internet for, or hearing about via word of mouth. I may also include creepypastas and SCPs, etc. But the intent is to sit down and enjoy a good old-fashioned scary campfire story. However, I'll always include in the title or description of the episode if it is a true story. Speculative or pure fiction, just for those of you that are looking for genuine, real frightful encounters. With all that said, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell to stay notified whenever I release a new video. Now, grab yourself a drink and snacks if you have them. Get comfy, and let's get into tonight's campfire story. Okay, so I don't really know where to start with this. I've gone back and forth about whether I should even share this, but I think I just need to put it out there, even if no one believes me. I don't even know what happened. I don't know if I was being haunted or stalked or losing my mind. But whatever it was, it ruined my life. It started with the bites. I woke up one morning with a weird soreness on my shoulder. At first I thought I had just slept weird, maybe laid on my arm too long. But when I checked in the mirror, I froze. There were bite marks. Not scratches, not bruises, not a rash. Actual clear as day human teeth marks indented into my skin. But I live alone, I don't have a husband or boyfriend, and to be honest, I wouldn't be into that even if I did. And before you say it, no, I don't have any pets, I don't sleepwalk, and I sure as hell didn't bite myself in my sleep. I stood there for a solid minute, trying to rationalize it. Maybe I pressed my shoulder into my sheets funny, maybe it's some weird allergic reaction. So, like I think most people would my age, I pulled out my phone and Googled it. Big mistake. The first few results were all the same. Bed bugs, nope, no other bites, no signs. Skin conditions. This didn't look like a rash, it looked like teeth. Sleep paralysis. But I wasn't paralyzed, and I sure as hell wasn't hallucinating. I tried to brush it off, maybe I had scratched myself weirdly and I was just freaking out over nothing. When you spend as much time alone as I did back then, I think it's easy to try and rationalize things by yourself, even if maybe you shouldn't. But then it happened again and other weird stuff I still can't explain. I started losing time, or rather literally just blacking out. The first time I lost time, it wasn't super dramatic. I was sitting on my couch, scrolling my phone, and I blinked. And suddenly it was 3 hours later. I had no memory of getting up, no sign I had fallen asleep. Just gone, missing time, and then it started happening more. I'd be cooking dinner, and the next thing I knew, I was sprawled on my living room floor, butt naked, shivering, with fresh bite marks, and these bite marks weren't just on my shoulders. I'll save you all the details, but suffice to say the bites were all over my body. I feel like it's also important that I mention at this point that I don't sleep naked. I don't even like sleeping in just a tank top. I tend to have the AC in my house way too cold for that. And the bites, they were getting deeper. I don't know how to explain it, but they weren't random, like they were being placed, spaced out like something was mapping out a pattern. I didn't even want to sleep anymore. I have to say at this point, my mind was running wild. I even thought someone else might be living in my house and drugging me. I ordered a cheap night vision camera off Amazon for about $40. Not because I thought I was haunted or anything, as I say, but just to prove I wasn't losing my mind. Strangely, the first 2 nights, nothing happened, and it made me doubt myself. Just me tossing and turning, occasionally shifting, pretty normal. But on the 3rd night, at first same as always, just me sleeping. But then I saw the wardrobe door at the opposite end of my bedroom to my bed move, or at least I thought I did. I was ready to skip ahead in the recording when I saw long black fingers like spider legs push the wardrobe door open. There was someone inside my wardrobe. I now regret the cheaper camera as the quality wasn't great, but it looked like a person either in all black or it was all black, kind of like those shadow people you hear about online. But it was definitely a physical being. It crawled next to my bed on all fours and just squat there watching me for about 30 seconds before it crawled up into the bed and beneath my blankets with me. The recording started to lag or jitter, like something was wrong with it, and froze on a still image of me asleep and that thing out of sight beneath the blankets. I swear to God, I almost threw up when I saw that footage. I shut my laptop and just sat there, breathing too fast, heart hammering in my chest. It was real. Was someone living in my house? It didn't move like a person, but I've seen clips on TikTok and YouTube of weirdos running around on all fours at night. So I didn't rule out that this could very well be a home intruder. I called my friend Sandra to ask what I should do, and she said to call the police. I'll be the first to admit I don't fully know why, but I felt apprehensive about calling the police. In hindsight, I think it might have been because the occurrences in my home leading to calling the police felt so paranormal. However, I did call the police, and they arrived and searched my home. They told me they couldn't find anyone inside or signs of an intruder, and asked me a series of what I assume were routine questions. I told them about the camera footage, and they asked if I could show them. Now this is when I started to really question myself. I showed them the footage beginning from the point just before my wardrobe door was opened. But to my horror, and honestly just embarrassment, the recording continued well beyond the point I'd seen the creature before, with no sign of it whatsoever. It was like the recording had just been replaced with any of the other nights. The police ended up leaving and probably thought I was totally insane. I was about at my wit's end, so I begged my friend Sandra to come and sleep over. I told her about what had been happening, and after a few minutes of me ugly crying over the phone, she agreed to stay over with me. When Sandra arrived, I told her just about everything, including the footage changing. I remember she tried to act understanding, but just the tone and direction she kept taking the conversation in, talking about what stress can do to you, and how important sleep is for mental health and so on. I knew she thought I was crazy, but honestly, I was still relieved to have her over. After the initial awkwardness of the conversation wore off, and we got talking about other things for the first time in weeks, I started to feel normal. We ordered food, talked about work, and even gossiped a little bit about stupid drama. I even started to wonder what if. Maybe she's right. Maybe I was just losing it. She went to bed in the guest room around midnight. I went to my room, and then I heard a thump, a heavy, soft thump, like a body hitting the floor. I called Sandra's name, but she didn't answer me. My stomach dropped, but I think because of the joviality of the evening after the initial awkwardness, I didn't immediately panic. So I pushed the door open, and she was on the floor, face down, unmoving. I ran to her. I remember my heart was pounding. I don't think people often mention this, or maybe it was just me at that moment. But there's a very real unease that comes over you when you have to touch or move a body that you don't know if it is dead or alive. It's like some sort of deep-rooted instinctive fear. Sandra didn't respond, and I rolled her over. Her eyes were wide open, but pure white, rolled back. Her mouth was slightly open, but she didn't seem to be breathing. And then her shirt ripped. Like something invisible had grabbed the fabric and torn it straight down the middle. And right in front of me, a bite mark started forming on her skin. Slow, deliberate, and behind me. The mattress started moving. It bulged, shook violently, like something inside was thrashing to get out. I kept remembering that person or that thing I'd seen on the camera. I can't truly put into words the terror I felt at that moment, nor looking back quite how unreal and nightmarish it feels now. Then the side of the mattress split open, and something crawled out. Long fingers, stretched, distorted limbs, a face that looked human but wasn't. I ran. I ran straight to my neighbor's door, screaming. They called the police. When they got there, they said Sandra was awake, confused. Her shirt was torn, she had bite marks. But the mattress? It was fine, no rips, no signs of anything. Sandra refused to look at me. The police kept asking if I had taken anything that night, if Sandra had been drinking, if I had a history of mental illness. The police thought that I'd attacked Sandra, and honestly, I think she thought so too. Sandra didn't press charges or even speak to me. She left, and the next day I received a text basically saying, "Lose my number. I don't want anything more to do with you until you get yourself some help." It still hurts, but I don't blame her. I'm now currently living with my dad in his house. I haven't experienced anything like this since, or in any other property. I still own the house where this happened to me, and I'm seriously considering selling it. But a part of me is scared that if I do, whatever it was that I went through will happen to whoever buys it. Wow, so that was a freaky one, right? It's supposedly true, but as the cynic I am, I do have my doubts though. With the camera footage glitching out and the mattress being fine when the cops checked it, it makes me wonder if the lady was having some kind of psychotic episode. That said, this reminds me of a creepypasta I saw once. I swear there was a guy who lives inside your mattress. Anyways, that's enough rambling from me. Go ahead and let me know what you think in the comments, and while you're there, feel free to let me know what kind of stories you'd be interested in hearing in the future. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a story. Till next time, have a great rest of your week.